See, I just
Josh
love
should
it.
have been like going like this the whole time.
It's so dumb. Hi, Irene.
Hello, how are you doing, Rico?
I'm
Thanks for
doing
having
good.
me.
Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it so much. I know you guys with your hundred and how what do you have? You have 130 no 136,000 subs. I think
I don't look
it's a
anymore.
huge channel. Whatever. It's a huge channel, and I know that you guys with the big channels get hit up just constantly. So I really appreciate the
Oh.
time and coming and hanging out with us. Um, Let me do my quick little spiel, and then we'll get right to it. So, everybody, if you're new here, the whole first half of the chat is just going to be Irene and I having a conversation. We're not going to be looking at the chat at all. We won't see people coming in saying hi. We won't see questions or anything like that. Save that for the second half. And then we'll open it up to the chat, and you guys can ask questions of Irene. And we want to make it not fish questions. Don't ask her, what's the best way to take care of a certain betta, or my betta's got this, or whatever it is. Try to make it more personal. We want to learn more about Irene, and not so much about Irene the fish keeper. Keep it a little more personal. And if you would please, when you do ask those questions, make sure you do the @Rico stand so it really pops out for me. All right. So Irene, I did a little digging on your family and found something out. I don't normally do this, but I did a little digging. And for people that don't know, Irene is actually independently wealthy.
What?
Her family invented yodeling, so she's been living off that sweet yodeling music for a long time.
I have no idea where that fact came from.
I just made it up. I just thought it sounded good. Sweet yodeling music.
Oh
Yodeling money. Sweet yodeling money.
If that's what you want to believe, let it be part of the Girl Talks mythos.
Yes. The yodeling music. All right, so let's dig in. I know you live in Colorado. Mm-hmm. Have you lived there your entire life, or you're born and raised in Colorado? Or?
I'm a Texan. I'm coming from Houston, Texas.
Nice. And how long have you lived in Colorado? I mean, well, let's start back. You were born in Houston, right?
Yes.
So how long did you live there?
I mean, pretty much all through high school until I left for college to go to the Georgia Institute of Technology. So
nice.
I was there in the hot, humid hurricane land.
Gotcha. And what made you go to Colorado? It was a guy, wasn't it?
It was absolutely a guy. He was the Colorado native.
Okay.
And we met in Austin. So after I graduated from Georgia Tech, I got my first job in Austin, Texas. He had a job in Austin, Texas. We actually met at like a singles church retreat and then started dating. And then after we got married, he was like, you know what? Have you ever thought about living someplace with, actual seasons? And I was like, mountains? Really? I'm used to like beach is the type of vacation place I like to go to because I'm from Houston. But he convinced me to go to Colorado, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I love seasons. I've totally gotten used to the ice and the snow and everything. And I don't know how long you have to live someplace before you can call yourself a Coloradoan. You know what I mean? Like, I still think of myself as a Texan.
And how long has it been?
About a decade, I would say.
You're a
and
Coloradan.
Like both my kids were born here.
Yeah.
So I'm like really starting to plant those roots. And so
you're a Coloradan, and I'm with you.
It's hard.
I'm with you 100%. I've lived in a lot of different places in the United States, and I currently live upstate New York, and I absolutely love the four seasons, four very, very drastic different seasons. I don't know how people can live in a place that doesn't have them. It's just, I don't know. It's weird.
I literally have pictures of me when I was younger, Christmas time in Houston, and I'm wearing like a tank top and shorts, putting the star on the Christmas tree. Yeah. Like, that's how bad it is.
It's not right. I lived in Arizona, so I'm right with you. It's the same type of thing. So you guys you got together and you lived in Austin, worked in Austin, and then he convinced you to move back home.
We thought we were going to have kids in Austin, all that. But really just, so we moved to Colorado back because of a job opportunity he had. But honestly, like, Texas just hated him. He had horrible allergies. Like, the bugs are as big as your face. He claims that the Texas drivers are horrible. He got in 2 accidents, not his fault, that totaled his cars. Just everything that could go wrong. Just Texas hated him.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
he was missing
He was
Colorado.
missing the cold, does not do well in heat.
Yeah.
Even now, like our house is significantly probably cooler than most people's houses are. Like that's our room temperature.
Yep. Same here. Same here. And where roughly, I mean, obviously you don't, well, where roughly do you live in Colorado? Are you close to Denver?
We're north of Denver, so
Okay.
just kind of in the suburbs area.
Okay. I know we have a lot of Coloradans in the Fish Fam. So I was just
Woohoo!
curious. There's quite a few. There really are. I know there's some local fish clubs in different parts of Colorado and
Yes.
some
So
really
you
good
might
fish
see
stores.
me at the Colorado Aquarium Society. So feel free to come say hi. I won't
I
bite.
wonder if well, we won't get into it. I just know that I do have some friends, Geek Boy, one of them who lives in Colorado, who does go to one of them. I don't know if that's the one he goes to, but yeah, you have to watch out for Irene there, Geek Boy, if you're watching. So what did you go to school for?
Electrical engineering. Basically, I told my parents, like growing up, we just had tons of little pets, I would say. Hamsters, parakeets, a turtle at point, rabbits. And then, like, senior year, I finally convinced my family to get the biggest animal yet, which was a cat. It was, I mean, we're very much into the menagerie of animals, but all smaller. And I told my parents I wanted to be a vet. And they were like, well, let's take a look at how much your student loans would be. You're going to be on call. Like, you don't get to have a 9 to 5 job. You're going to have to work on holidays. They're very realistic about the pros and cons. They said it's a highly competitive world. All the other girls like you, they want to be vets. So really, if you want a job, you're going to have to go into large animal livestock events.
Yep.
Just all these like facts. And I was like, ooh, you know what? I really like sleeping. I like 9 to 5. So they said, you know what? You're good at math and science, STEM. Why don't you become an engineer? And so, yeah, my dad was he's a chemical engineer. My brother was a mechanical engineer, and I went into electrical engineering.
Wow. That's an impressive family there.
I was good at taking tests, really.
Yeah. Cool under pressure.
Yeah.
Still today, or is that still a trait you have today?
I would just say I like it when there's a concrete yes or no answer. I didn't do so well on the English pressure essays, right?
Gotcha.
Where it's very subjective.
Gotcha. And did you turn that into a living? You said you did work in Austin. Did you actually?
Yes. So I worked for an engineering company. I basically started off doing customer support for engineering products. So they wanted like engineering degrees, like college graduates would actually understand these really complicated products, help the people out in the field. And then from there, you could go into research and development, which is like traditionally what people think of as engineering. You could go the technical marketing route or technical sales. And so I was definitely not interested in going to hardcore research and development. So I went the marketing route. And that's kind of how I kind of deviated into marketing, the marketing world.
Gotcha. And we'll talk about that a little bit because we obviously have to touch on the co-op a little bit. Just a little bit.
Of course.
We'll save that though. My daughter was also going to be a vet, so I was nodding along with you because she also she was going to be a large animal vet, and then she got out of it and she wants to be a coroner. So
very cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
I guess. I don't know.
We need my wife,
we do, but I don't know how people. I don't know. I just don't know how people do it. I'm squeamish.
If you have the stomach for it, go for it. I'm sure they pay probably a reasonable amount for people who can stomach it.
She has more than the stomach for it. She absolutely enjoys it. I mean,
awesome.
Everything on the inside should stay on the inside. That's how I feel. I don't want to see it on the outside. That's why it's on the inside.
I feel like I could do it if I got used to it enough. That's probably a job I would have probably enjoyed as
well. Excuse me. All right, so I know you have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, yes. Gamer boy and gamer girl, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And how old are they?
They're like elementary school age.
Okay,
so,
gotcha. So that's a fun age. That's still a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're old enough where they're not in diapers and they're like very mobile and kind of have some kind of independence, but they're not old enough where we're starting to have like, I don't like you anymore, mommy, kind of issues. So they still like me, and it's a very, very sweet, precious age that I'm trying to cling desperately onto.
It happens though. It does, no matter what you do. but they come back around. They come back
Oh,
around.
good. I hope
So
so.
yeah, they come back. They come back after a while, and then you just can't seem to get rid of them. But and how did the whole gamer's wife,
Mm.
gamer boy, gamer? So how did that all start? So did it start with your husband?
Yeah, so when we met, he was a video game developer. He started off in the art side of things, and then eventually went into design, where it's like you kind of design the mechanics of the game and what's the gameplay like, all that stuff. And so I originally started a blog way back in the day. You might be able to find it, where I would just write about his crazy stories from being in the video game industry. Like it was just insane, some of the things I was learning about. Well, eventually he left the video game industry. It's just a very volatile industry. So a lot of times when people are like, "Oh my goodness, I want to become a game developer," or "My kid
Yeah.
wants to be," and it's kind of like the vet thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pros and cons that you're not aware of.
Yeah.
And it is like every time a game comes out, if it doesn't do well, everybody gets fired. If it does well, then you're crunching like 80-hour weeks, trying to get the next game made. And so it's just kind of exhausting, constantly being hired, fired, hired, fired. And then once you start having a family and a wife and kids, you kind of want to, same thing with the 9 to 5, right? You want to be able to be home and spend some time with them instead of, "Oh, I'm sorry, honey, they want us to crunch. I'm going to be at the office all day and I'm not going to see you tomorrow too, because you'll have already left for work," that kind of thing. So after that, I was like, well, I guess I don't have anything else to write on the Gamer's Wife blog, but I had all the social media handles for a Gamer's Wife. And so when I started YouTube, which again was just like a fun hobby, I was like, "Ooh, I want to try video editing software. I'll just like upload random videos about my family and my fish," right? I just went under a Gamer's Wife username just because I already owned everything.
Gotcha.
It wasn't until actually, I guess I responded to somebody on Twitter who was like a YouTube guru, marketing guru, where he's teaching people how to be better YouTubers. And he must have saw, I don't know why, but he happened to like click on my name. And then he realized like, oh, even though her name is a Gamer's Wife, she actually has a channel about fish. And so he asked a very logical question, which is like, why your name doesn't make any sense. You should really consider changing your name to reflect what your channel is about. And so I was like, this is good advice. I really should do this and just pull the plug and do it before I get too big.
Yeah.
And then it's really painful if I try to change names. So yeah, that's why I did it.
And how long ago was that roughly?
Oh my goodness, I cannot remember.
I mean, is it 5 years?
No. I've only been on YouTube for like 3.5 years.
Okay.
So somewhere in there.
Gotcha.
I'm not sure how many subscribers I have.
Yeah.
But if you remember me as a Gamer's Wife, hello, thank you so much for being with the channel for so long.
There was quite a few people. There was quite a few. I did not, because I really only got into the fish community about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Not even. It's not quite 2 years yet. So I didn't know about you as Gamer's Wife, but I know so many people in the chat, and people, I was all excited to have you come up. So I was bragging, "I got Irene to come up," and they were all like, "Oh yeah, I love Gamer's Wife." They still called you that. So there's a lot of people that have been following you forever.
I do have a second channel that I rarely update that's called a Gamer's Wife vlog. So yeah, I kind of kept that name over there somewhat.
and what do you put over there? Is it still game
anything
related?
Not fish related?
Okay,
so
gotcha. A little more personal channel.
Yeah, like people have like sometimes randomly been like, "What's your skincare routine?" And I'm like, "Huh, well that's not something that's going to go on the Girl Talks Fish channel, so I'll just like dump it over there." Yeah. Or one time I posted my bubble tea recipe because I really love bubble tea, and I, during COVID I was not going to the shops anymore. I was making it myself at home. Gotcha. I used to pick like I would post what books I was reading, that kind of thing. But things have gotten a little busy just recently, so I haven't posted in a while.
I'm a little disappointed though, because I've never had that. What my skincare routine is. I maybe I need to change something. Maybe I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Maybe I need to.
I'll tell you, there's nothing special about mine. It's called drugstore skincare lotion / cleanser. Nothing special at all.
Gotcha.
That's funny.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, shifting gears a little bit. So we know you enjoy playing video games too, right? It wasn't just It wasn't just because your husband. I mean, do you like to
No, it
play
was
video
because of my
games?
husband.
Oh, it was.
I mean, growing up, so I have a younger brother. He would play the video games. Sometimes I would join him, but really, like the kind of I say older, but the older childhood we got, I would just sit next to him and I would watch him, and I was very happy to watch him. Like I thought it was quite entertaining,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So I had like no hand-eye coordination. Well, when I was dating Mr. Gamer, now my husband, he was like, "Hey, just to foster some interest in like what I do for a living, I decided to get you a Nintendo DS, which is like a little handheld
Yep.
console." And so that was my first kind of entryway into gaming. And so I've played games like, Rune Factory is kind of like a little farm simulation game. I've played some Castlevania games, just little things that he suggested. I did get heavily into Monster Hunter on the PSP, which is like a PlayStation handheld
Yeah.
console. It's always been handheld because usually he was using the TV to game. And so
Gotcha.
I didn't want to have to fight him for the TV, so I would have my handheld
Yeah.
little machine. And then just once I had kids, it kind of died down a little bit.
Okay.
But now, like, my son has his own little handheld console. Obviously, my husband, Mr. Gamer, has his own, and then
Yeah.
he
Which one? The Switch?
yeah, the Switch. So
Okay.
he upgraded to the OLED Switch recently, and so I was looking at his old one, which he was going to sell on eBay, and I was like, maybe I could buy the old one off you, help offset the
Yeah.
cost of the upgrade one. So yes, now I just like literally last month in December, that's when I just got a handheld again. So I've been playing so
Animal
he got
Crossing?
no
Oh.
so for he Mr. Gamer really likes the Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne series on
I've never played any of
PlayStation.
those. Yeah.
They're kind of more hardcore, and so again foster my interest in this series, he got me the handheld, like the Nintendo Switch version of Dark Souls. It's like the remastered version or something. So yeah, that's the only game I own, and that's the one I've been playing. I've definitely been dying a lot. It's just that kind of game, and so there's constantly like questions like, where am I? Like, I have no idea where I am because it's just such a massive world and they let you go anywhere you want. So if you want to
Cool.
go to the super hard area before your time, like you can
Yeah.
absolutely accidentally stumble into that
Yeah.
area. So it's been really fun just taking a
And
little time away from my YouTube time for
which
sure.
one was that again? Which one?
Dark Souls.
Okay, I'll have to remember that because
Yeah.
I've seen it, but I never actually got it. I love those types of open world type things where you don't have to
Yeah.
follow. Um, I Fallout and all those. I played all those a lot.
It's really fun. I can definitely. My husband says there's definitely a difference between the way, like, the first time he played it versus the first time I'm playing it. Because, like, he was just saying, like, Mr. Gamer tends to be a more aggressive player. So if he sees like this big bad enemy, he just like goes, running headlong, and he'll hit, and he'll die, right? Versus me, I will be sitting on the couch, I'll be like screaming, running away from this bad guy. But then because I'm more cautious and careful, I don't tend to die as quickly as he.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
that's the
I'm
difference
with you.
in style.
I'm with you. I play the same way. I'm very methodical and take my time, and I like to learn all the little tricks and go to all the places. I like to see the whole. I'm a completionist. I love to complete the game. So, real quick, I did see, and I said I wasn't going to look at the chat, but I did see a $5 super chat from our buddy Alex, the Secret History Living in Your Aquarium.
Thank you.
He says, "Thanks for what you do, buddy. I'm very excited to see Irene on here. She's a role model of mine."
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. I
Alex,
really appreciate it.
I don't know if you've seen Alex before.
I have.
Alex,
I actually have seen some of his videos. Actually, I've
Yeah.
been like searching for things, and then like his videos pop up, and I'm like, that's exactly what I was wanting to learn about today.
if you want to learn something, that is the man to go watch because he is a scholar and he doesn't. He can. I don't want to get too much into that. Alex is a great guy. He has great content. You can learn a lot by watching him.
Free
Back
plug.
over here. All right. So, what other hobbies though besides? So you did get back into gaming. You're a mom. That's takes up a lot of time in its own. But what other type of hobbies do you like other than
definitely like hiking because Colorado you have to, but I don't get to do it as often as I would like. Just with younger kids and everything has to line up. All the family family plans have to line up to do it. Probably reading is a big one. I'm actually in a book club, and so it's a every month we basically once a year we vote on what genres. So every month is a different genre. So it'll be like Western genre, sci-fi, dystopian future, whatever,
Nice.
and it can change every year.
Yeah.
And then for that month, let's say that month is plays, right? So then we all anonymously, you can like put in as many nominations as you want, and then when we get together we talk about the previous month's book, and then we will vote on out of all of the recommendations which one we want to do. So it's
Nice.
pretty
That's a
cool.
cool way to do it.
Yeah,
See,
I've
I don't have friends.
definitely read things that I would never like a Western, like Lonesome Dove, highly recommend. Yeah, I would never thought I would like a Western book, but it's just like
Yeah.
this classic. You got to read it. So.
What is your favorite genre? What one stands out to you the most? What's your
I would
favorite?
say, growing up, so I've always been an avid reader. I just remember going to the library as soon as I knew how to read, like in elementary school. I was just like checking out tons and tons and tons of books. I was always in the summer reading programs, right? Getting that little badge and stuff like that. And so I went through phases when I was like younger. Obviously, you go through your little fiction storybooks, right? And then I went through a biographies phase, and then I definitely remember in middle school doing a horror phase. Probably nowadays I like sci-fi fantasy. I know it's very geeky, but
We have a lot in common.
one
That's my
of my favorite genres. I think most of the women in my group, they like historical fictions and
yeah.
that kind of
Yeah, that's
thing.
okay once in a while. I don't mind that once in
Oh,
a
I
while.
do like dystopian future.
Yep.
Yeah, but
So
I like a lot.
what's something recently from maybe the last couple of years that really stood out to you that you really enjoyed in
The book
whatever genre?
we are
Whatever.
reading right now was from the nonfiction category, and I actually nominated this one. There's a nonfiction book called Flawless, something about inside the world's biggest diamond heist. So if you like Ocean's 11 and those
Yeah.
kind of heists, this is like the biggest real diamond heist that ever happened, which is amazing story, and I really liked all the research that went into it. So that's a really good one. I'm trying to think before that what I read. Uh, what do I like? I was like, I remember some books that I was forced to read that I didn't like. For example, so it's funny that in middle school I was into horror, and now I'm a complete scaredy cat because I think there's a difference between middle school horror versus like adult horror.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't like, my husband loves horror movies and reading like oh my goodness, what is his name? The Cthulhu guy, Lovecraft,
Yes.
right? He loves like just he loves horror. But so, anyways, every October we always do a horror genre, and I was forced to read The Shining by Stephen King, and I was just trying to speed read through this. I was just like, oh my goodness, the whole time. Don't read this at night. I was just freaking out.
That
So
is a
then,
good one though.
once I was finished with the book, I mean, he's an excellent writer. Absolutely, it's just not my.
Sure.
I don't get my kicks out of being scared out of
Yep.
my shoes.
I'm with you. But like you said before, you enjoyed it when you were younger, but
I
it was
did.
more Goosebumps and R.L.
Yes,
Stein or
exactly.
not R.L.
Christopher
Stein's the other
Pike.
one.
Yeah, and also when I read something as a child, or when I read something in general, my imagination isn't as bad as like the movie. So, for example, when I finished reading The Shining, Mr. Gamer's like, "Oh, do you want to watch The Shining the movie now?" I was like, "Absolutely not! Like, I cannot stand the visuals are what get to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like when I read it." It was okay as a book because my imagination is not as terrifying as what some of these directors put up on screen. So I was like, we're good. We're good. I do not. Oh, October is a terrible month for me because Mr. Gamer just tries to make me watch so many horror
Yeah.
movies because all the horror movies, especially like they're all on all the streaming services, right? And so he's just constantly watching scary things.
I loved him when I was a kid too, or not a kid, but like in my early 20s. I mean, I read a lot of Stephen King, and I loved the horror movies and stuff, Friday the 13th, and Halloween, all of that stuff.
Nope.
Not today. Today, I can't stand, and it changed somewhere after I had kids because everything changed after I had kids, and I no longer wanted to have that scary stuff because just having kids is scary enough, worrying about them day to
Very
day
true.
and things happening, so
Very
that's
true.
where it changed for me. I just don't care to be scared anymore. So
That makes sense.
oh, you said something and I wanted to touch back on it, and now I'm drawing a blank. I shouldn't have touched.
Oh, it's okay.
I want to reiterate though. There's 123 people watching. If we're not saying hi to you, that's by design. The whole first part of the stream is just going to be Irene and I having a conversation. But the second half, which is coming up here pretty soon, we will open it up to the chat so you guys can ask questions there. So if we haven't said hi or we haven't responded, that's why. We're just not looking at the chat, but we will be opening up pretty soon. It's already 25 minutes in. Does it?
Wow,
It
I'm
goes
having
like
such a
that.
good time. Who
It
knew?
just goes
Okay.
like that. See, Corey was up for 2.5 hours.
Oh my goodness. That's not going to be me because I got to feed my kids.
I understand. I understand. Yeah, we'll definitely keep it to an hour. We actually talked about that. But I was amazed that he hung out and talked for 2.5 hours. But I think it's a nice break for you guys because you do talk about, and obviously you love talking about fish. It's a big hobby. You love talking about fish, but to be able to talk about yourself a little bit and let people get to know you, it's just got to be a nice break.
It
I just
is,
imagine.
yeah. And to be fair, the main reason why I don't live stream on my channel is because I am like death. I don't have Corey's talent. Obviously, he's developed it over many years of live streaming, but I'm like deathly afraid of giving somebody like wrong advice on a live stream. I like
Gotcha.
to, do a lot of research. Make sure like my answer kind of takes into account multiple sources.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And I am, I haven't owned a fish store. I haven't owned hundreds of tanks, right? And
Yeah.
so I'm not at that experience level by any means where I feel like I'm an expert. So,
I get you. And, I mean, I know that people would love to see you live stream regardless of what the topic was. But I know a lot of people that feel the same way as you. And what they do is they say, in my experience,
yes,
this is what has worked. I'm by no means an expert, but this is what has worked for me. So,
for sure.
I mean, they almost all do that because there's a lot of people in the fish fam that live stream that make sure they let you know I'm not an expert, but they
Yes.
still have a lot of fun and they still impart a lot of knowledge. And I guarantee you, if you did a live stream, you would have a ton of people there, and no
We'll
pressure,
see.
no pressure. I'm just
Maybe for
saying.
my members first to make it a practice round.
There you go.
Something more controllable.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I
We'll
know
see.
everybody wants to see you do another collaboration with Chris from Fish for Thought.
Gee, what a great idea.
I know a lot of people have been pushing for that,
No,
and he's a
no.
great guy. I got to interview him too. So,
Yes.
um, anyways, so just some food for thought. ADHD Aquatics, Emily, hi. Tell us about the Shy Guy tank, Irene. Let's go
Ah.
ahead. Actually, we're 27 minutes in, so we're going to start with that. If you guys have questions for Irene, there's still a bunch more I wanted to talk about, but we'll get the chat in there. We'll start out with Emily's question. No, tell us about the Shy Guy tank, if you would.
So basically, almost like probably like the second tank I ever got was this 20-gallon high aquarium that is still in the same location, kind of near the front of our house, kind of the display tank for the whole family to enjoy. And it's just gone through various iterations. And one of the iterations, gosh, was it the 2 iterations ago, maybe? I decided, you know what? I want to try keeping some of the shyest fish that like are notorious for being shy. You hear about celestial pearl danios being shy, hear about coolie loaches being shy, all these shy fish. I want to put them in the same tank and see, are they really that shy? Like what happens if the shy level, is the same for everyone? Will they become more bold? What will go on? And it was amazing because now, at least for me, my coolie loaches have never hidden. Like people talk about like, oh, my coolie loach nocturnal, they hide all the time, and mine are like broad daylight, surfing up the glass, looking for flakes that came up on the top. They're like in the front, digging around in the substrate. Like they're one of my favorite bottom dwellers. And so I feel like maybe I'm missing out on something when people are like, no, my coolie loaches hide all the time.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
What do you think that is? What do you? I mean, what would other shy fish? You know what I'm saying? So I get dither fish and stuff, but I'm trying to think what specifically about other shy fish that would bring that out of the coolie loaches. Maybe because the other fish are just less active too.
They're less aggressive. There was no one tank boss. Nobody was like chasing them.
Yeah.
Nobody was, so if you're in like a room full of introverts and nobody's the extrovert, right? Well, the introverts got to start talking sometime. Hopefully.
Gotcha.
And then also having like a lot of aquarium plants, I think helps too, because it's like that rule of thumb of the more hiding spots you have, the more they come out for some reason.
Yeah.
So that would probably be like, I would say the main reasons.
my CPDs, when I put panda cories
Mm,
in my 55 right here,
yeah.
the CPD started coming out like crazy. They're out all the
Oh,
time. They're never
great.
hidden. They even come up to the front of the glass. They're not skittish.
That's
So
awesome.
there's definitely something there to that, because there's Bosemani rainbows in there with them too.
Yeah, I see them. I'm so
So
jealous.
I don't know if you can, a plant's sort of in the way, but
Oh, they're bright enough. I can see them from where I am. That's awesome.
and I think I had my first baby. I didn't try.
Aw.
It's still small enough that I can't tell exactly what it is. It could have
Yeah.
been a guppy, even that maybe
Right.
whatever. But it does. It's got vertical stripes on it, and well, anyways, I don't. Sorry, I want to keep this
No,
about you.
congratulations.
Well, I didn't even try. There's a ton of plants, and I just cleaned it out. Actually, there was a ton of guppy grass and pogostemon that was just all a mass. I just
Mhm.
let it all float,
Awesome.
and I was looking one day, and there was this tiny little fish. I was like, what the heck is that? And it looks like a Bosemani. It really does. There's some coloration and the
Awesome.
shape of the tail. And okay, Cosmo Placket, hey there. He wants to know if Irene has plans to get more aquariums. If not, what's stopping her? Time, space?
I'm kind of a minimalist wannabe at heart, I would say. And so I actually don't want a lot of aquariums. I like having fewer aquariums that I can really focus on and cultivate. Kind of like I've used this example, like some people they want 10 children. And me, I just wanted two. I felt like I had the time and energy and focus for two children. But
Yes.
like bigger than that, I felt like my attentions would start getting divided. And so I'm really that person who really just wants to cultivate and make those few aquariums as good as awesome as possible. And then, if I get bored or I finish breeding this fish, I feel like it succeeded with this plant, whatever it is, I will restart that
Okay. We're
aquarium
going to ask
and
that.
go with a completely new scape or completely
Okay.
new plants that I've never tried before, fish I've never tried before, invertebrates. That's usually how I get my
Okay.
experience
Newness.
or
Yeah.
newness, that too. Yeah. So
And how long, roughly, would you say that you keep a tank a certain way? I mean, I'm sure it's different for different tanks, but what's like your average? Would you say it's the tank is like that for a year, and then you decide to go somewhere else? I know
until I'm
I know you
unhappy
said
with
it's
it.
okay, yeah. So there's really not a
But
time frame. It's just
no, I mean it was for a while. It was like every year around December, January, I would start thinking about like I'm not happy with this. But it was also I feel like because I wasn't as good at keeping aquarium plants, like I was still learning, and so they would get covered in algae or they wouldn't be growing and they would be stunted or whatever. Like the fish were always fine, but the plants just weren't doing as well. Or maybe all my rocks, the hardscape, were covered in algae, right? And I just didn't know how to fix it, right? I was like, oh, I'll just solve it by redoing everything, right? Well, now I've gotten better at plants. And so now I'm like, well, I'm still happy with these plants. They're doing well for me. They're not covered in algae.
gotcha.
So
Well,
it's so now like these tanks have been running for a bit. I would say for example, my 10-gallon aquarium in my kitchen is what my breeding projects are. And so for them, it's like, oh yeah, as soon as I successfully bred that type of fish and I've raised them up successfully and I've sold them, I feel like I've conquered that fish. I will go ahead and sell off all the adults, like at my local fish club or whatever, and then I will be like, okay, what else can I breed in a 10-gallon? That's
gotcha.
really cool that I'm interested in. And so
Yeah.
right now
That's a
I've
good way to
got
do it.
pygmy corridors in that tank, and they have bred, and so but they bred once, and now I want to see if I can replicate the conditions to make them
Gotcha.
breed again. And then
Gotcha.
after I'm more sure of my technique, then maybe I'll make a video about it. But yeah,
I'm
that's my
too
plan.
lazy. I'm too lazy. The tank gets set up and it's gonna stay like I mean, again, I've only been keeping fish this time around. I kept them when I was a kid,
Mm,
way long time ago, but it's only been less than 2 years. June will be 2 years when I
mm,
got my first tank.
cool.
And I they haven't changed. I mean,
Yeah. If you're
once I
happy
set the
with it,
tank
why
up,
change it?
that's
Yeah,
how it
yeah.
stays. I mean, I mess with the plants and stuff in there
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
time, but okay. Mary Page, thank you so much. $1.99 super sticker.
Hi, Mary Page.
Everybody knows Mary Page.
Yeah.
I said it the other day. She's like the backbone of the fish fam. She's one of the
Oh,
most
yes.
supportive, and everybody knows her. Everybody, because she leaves the best comments on
Mhm.
videos. She's an amazing person, our Mary Page.
Very encouraging.
Okay,
Encourage
Fish
community.
Kid, who's from New Zealand and is a kid.
Hmm.
He's not a fish, but he is a kid. A couple of questions for Irene. Does Mr. Gamer have a channel? We'll stop with
No.
that. Okay. And so then, and the second part of that was, did he prompt you into doing YouTube? So that's a no.
No. That was me wanting to video edit because I liked photography, and then I was like, oh, I want to try video editing. So.
And what's one fish you would love to keep that you haven't so far? Is
Oh,
there?
bigger fish. Because right now my whole channel and all my tanks are nano tanks, like 20
Yeah.
gallons and below in size. So I've never gotten to keep things like, severums and, well, I don't think this will ever happen, but clown loaches and, something like a monster tank, even discus, right? Angelfish, nothing fits,
Yeah.
in those
Yeah.
20 gallons. And so, yeah, I would love to get a bigger tank one day. I just don't know where to put it. For sure, out of the two of us, if I'm more of the minimalist, then Mr. Gamer's more of the, I'm not going to say hoarder, it's collector. And so he collects a lot of things. And so, and then to me, I don't mind. Like, he has his own, yeah, like a man cave kind of area where it's just like wall to wall of Transformers and board game, like tabletop games and all sorts of like cool collectibles. And I've never really had a desire to do that. And I think, like, to answer kind of the previous question, it is also a time thing. I have kids in my
Sure.
family, Mr.
Yeah.
Gamer, that I want to spend time with. And so the more takes I have, although again, because I've gotten better at aquarium plants, they really don't take as much care in terms of like water changes
Sure.
as much anymore.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it is a space issue though. So I have like maybe plans. I don't think this is even going to happen this year. Maybe in 2023. I don't know. We'll see. But in our basement, it'd be nice to have a little filming corner because currently every time I want to film, I have to drag up all of my lights, tripod, camera, all the cables. I have to drag up everything from the basement,
Yeah.
put it in front of my main display tank, which is in the huge family area, right? So I can't leave them set up. I have to film them there, and then I have to pack up everything, recharge the batteries, pack up everything, and put them back in the basement. So it'd be nice if I could just have a kind of more permanent filming station in the basement, and then like theoretically maybe I could have a larger tank in the background. But I just have to think about the reflections, like, because that's the thing is like if I have lights on me, I don't want this big. See, the reason why I'm not showing you like this tank as much right now is because there's a giant reflection. Can you see your face? Your face is like reflected right there.
Oh yeah, there I am. Look, I'm in the tank. Blub blub blub.
So that's the problem with that's why I was like, ooh, it'd be cool to have a larger aquarium as a background, but can I deal with the reflections? So
Gotcha.
that's kind of my thought right now.
Yeah, that's something I've never even. It doesn't enter into my.
Well, yours are kind of at an angle, which is nice, and so I don't think I would have space for two large aquariums. It would be only space for one large aquarium, or maybe like a nano tank. I definitely don't think I would want a wall of. I don't know. There's lots of. First, I have to work with Mr. Gamer to get the basement cleared out enough where I could potentially set something up. So we'll see.
I'm with you again. That's another thing we have in common. So I have two adult children that live at home, and when one of them moves out, I will be taking a huge space downstairs for my fish room. So
very cool.
At some point, this is all going to move downstairs, and I'll actually have a real fish room. Joe Stan gave me a 99-cent super sticker. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Let's see. Where's the next question? Oh, it's going to jump. Here we go. Knight Rider says, what does Irene's husband think about fish and the hobby as an innocent bystander?
He cannot, like a lot of people say, like, oh, sometimes I have to like hide my receipts or my purchases from my partner or my my parents or whoever, right? Because of how expensive the hobby can get. He cannot say anything because he outspends me like totally. And so he's fine on the spending part. He's fine with the amount I spend because I don't spend that much, right? Compared to him. What does he think of the hobby? He's very, very supportive. I mean, I think again because I am very supportive of his video games and tabletop games and his Transformers that he collects. He is very, very supportive of me and my hobby, and he's very proud of me too. And so, it's a very great relationship. I love it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It makes a huge difference when you have that support from your spouse or whatever, your main person in your life. I've got that too, and it makes a massive difference. So, is he interested in fish at all, fish keeping or anything? Or
I think the way an innocent bystander would be interested in zoo animals, that's about his level of interest. Like he thinks they're cool to look at. He's
yeah,
fine with going to a fish store with me, and like he thinks he will point out takes and be like, oh look at this. Wouldn't that be? It's interesting. So he's got a degree in digital art, graphic art, right? And so as an artist, kind of he'll like point out these fish and stuff like that. And it's our tastes in fish, I think, are still very different. Like me, I think I'm still like a beginner in many ways. I love the really colorful, lively fish. And then he will be act like some of the more veteran fish keepers and point out the more subtly colored fish and like and it's very interesting, or the more natural looking fish. And you'd be like, oh look at that. That one has like a hint of blue in it. I'm like, yeah, a hint of blue in it. I am not taking this fish home. But he will appreciate that natural beauty that I usually stay
gotcha,
away from.
gotcha.
So it's pretty cool bringing him to a fish store.
Yeah, that's a great question there. Kelly Foreman with a $4.99 super sticker. Thank you so much, you guys. And let me scroll down here. Okay, so we're good there. ATC, is Irene still involved in electrical engineering in some capacity?
Not at all.
Do you miss it?
Degrees wasted. No, just kidding. No, not at all. I found out soon. I mean, it's one thing to be really good at math and science and to pass all your electrical engineering tests, but to actually work in the field, and I've said this before on some of my videos, but yeah, my coworkers would literally read technical journals in their free time, and they would tinker in their garage on little electronics and build like their own automated sprinkler system instead of purchasing their own. They would build it out of our company's tools, right? And that was not me. I was here like learning how to knit and crochet. That was my hobby at the time. And I was like, I am not at the same level as these
Gotcha.
people in terms of interest in
Yes.
electrical engineering. And even when I got my degree, I got a very broad degree. I never specialized in power or semiconductor or any of these specializations in electrical engineering. And so I think it really did teach me just, what a lot of people say about going to college. It taught me how to like analyze something, critical thinking, problem solving, how to be organized, honestly. Just a lot of those kind of good life skills in general. And then honestly, the aquarium hobby is a very technical hobby, in my opinion. And so when I was doing technical writing, so basically what that means was I was kind of like doing the marketing for engineers, writing the technical white papers, going to trade shows and talking to other engineers about our products. And so helping to market basically very technical products. And then now in the same way, it's like, how do I take this very complicated technical topic and without getting like too much into the weeds, like
Yeah.
bring it to the masses.
Yeah.
Yes, some fish keepers, they do want to go down the rabbit hole and go super deep, but a lot of people don't. They're like, this is my first betta tank, I don't know what I'm doing, right? And they're not going to understand some of the jargon that we take for granted, like GH, KH, and like, so you'll notice when I write blog articles for Aquarium Co-op, I'm often using words like, oh, this fish likes softer water or low GH. I'm putting in parentheses trying to like, if you don't know what GH is, let me like try to use multiple ways to say the same thing so that hopefully, and then if
Yeah.
not, here's an extra article you can go to that will further explain it if you need more
Well,
direction.
thank you for that, because I do have to say that I did learn a lot from reading those articles on the co-op website. When I last year or the year before, even when I just got started, I read a lot of those different articles, and they did help quite a bit. So
So glad to hear
thank you. That's
that.
not just blowing smoke. That's 100% real, genuine. That helped me out quite a
People
bit.
like to
Reading those.
consume content in different ways. And so not everybody wants
Yes,
to watch a YouTube video. Some people are
exactly.
like, you know what? I can read a lot faster and I don't
Yep.
want to listen to your 30-minute rant about whatever. I just want to like hit the
Yes.
bullet points. And then
Yeah.
other people are like, I would never read an article online. YouTube is great because I can listen to it while I'm changing water in my aquariums. Like, you know what I mean? So there's a different crowd, and therefore I think it's a good thing that Corey is providing both the YouTube
Yes.
and the blog article format for
You
people.
know, now, for whatever reason, I've always been that first person. I've always
Mhm.
read articles
Yeah.
until I got into fish keeping.
Hmm.
And nowadays, I don't read articles about fish keeping. I do watch the videos all the time. So
Yes.
something has changed there for me, but
Mhm.
only with fish keeping. And I
Yeah.
don't know what it is about this hobby that lends itself so well to watching videos as opposed to reading those articles. There's something special about it.
I think we like to see the fish moving, sometimes certain techniques. Like, I think I wrote an article once on how to catch aquarium fish, and it is like super hard. With a blog post, like taking screenshots of his hand
Yeah.
moving across, like you cannot get across like the movements he was making
Yeah.
in his video and try to emulate that. So I could only try to describe it and then like embed the video in there and be like, if you didn't get what I just tried to describe, just click on this video.
Watch this. Yeah. I think part of it for me too is I know a lot of these people now that are making the video, so it adds an
Mm,
extra
yes.
layer to it. You know, I've met a
Personality.
lot of them. I hang out with them, the Fish Fam, and all the different streams and stuff. So I know them, and I know it just adds something to it. Maybe that's why I watch so much more. Aquarist podcast gave us a $20 super
Hey!
chat and said Irene is the best. Thank you so much for that.
Hi!
Appreciate it.
Hi,
I'm gonna
Ray!
we've got about 15 minutes left, so I'm going to switch real quick from the chat over to you started talking about the co-op. So just real
Oh, that's
quick,
right. You never got to
how
answer any
yeah,
questions about the co-op.
how did you get involved with Aquarium Co-op? Because you write most, if not all, of the
Mostly, yeah.
blog articles on the website, right?
Yes.
So how did you get involved with Aquarium Co-op?
Basically, I was like all of you guys. I was listening to all the main fish tubers like King of DIY, Rachel O'Leary, and of course Aquarium Co-op. And so on one of his live streams at the very end, he was like, "Oh, by the way, I'm looking for someone to maybe write my email newsletters." And so I was like, "Oh, okay." So I just like used the website contact form, and I was like, "Hey, this is who I am. Not only could I do email newsletters, but I could also write blog articles for you." And so it kind of, I think he was testing out different blog writers for sure. And so at first I was like, oh, I just want to do a guest post, right? And that way I can promote my own YouTube channel. Like, I wasn't interested in money at all. I was like, this is fun. I get to work, do something on the Aquarium Co-op site. But then after that, I guess after he was testing some of the other authors, he decided he liked my style or whatever. And so he was like, hey, maybe I could like pay you like as a contractor base, like per blog post. And I was like, okay, cool. But I still had my other full-time job, working for the engineering for marketing for engineers company. And then it went on long enough that he was like, what would it take to pay you to come over full time for me? I was like, cool. So I was a freelancer for the other company. I was like, if you can match their price, give me some benefits on top of it. Let's go. And so it was November 2019. So right before COVID. And yeah, I've been working there ever since. So it's mostly, okay, the blog post, definitely for sure. I do that every week. And if it's not me, I work with one of my other coworkers to be like, hey, Lizzie, you're really good at plants, or Zenzo, you're really good at like African cichlids or some of these other, bigger species that I'm not as good at. Would you be interested in doing like these kind of topics? And then I'll like review their stuff and post it on. But
Gotcha.
other stuff I do is like some of the marketing for the YouTube videos that get made. Like, everybody's like, oh, Jimmy, he makes the videos, right? But then like, who's making the thumbnail, who's making like the text and the tags and all this stuff? And that's like 3 other people, like
Wow.
me and Lizzie and somebody else. So what else do? I do some stuff for the website as well, content that goes on there. So like, just that's why my title is content strategist. It's just like this, I'm just kind of this content creation fountain for
Gotcha.
Aquarium Co-op.
That is really cool. It's the organic way you just sort of fell into it. You were already doing
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, it's cool, and it's sort of inspirational for other people in our community to there's other companies that are
Hmm.
growing, and they're going to want some of the same type of things,
Yeah.
Dan's Fish, KG Tropicals, just so
Yeah.
many different
Reach out
ones.
to them. You got a
Yeah,
special skill that either they're asking for or you feel like they might need. Doesn't
yeah.
hurt to send an email or contact them however you can. But yeah, really quick aside is because I joined right before COVID happened, so I have yet to visit the Aquarium Co-op headquarters, which is still a goal of mine one
Yeah.
day. Everything's been remote, so I'm like, one day I'll make it there. It'll be okay.
That's funny too. I've never been there either, but it's on the other side of the country. Someday I want to go check it out. I'm a fan of the co-op. Again, I can't say thank you enough to Corey
Mm.
for helping us with Fish Fam Christmas. He their donation was just massive. It was way more than I thought it was going to be, and just it turned the event into something a whole nother level. So thank you to Corey and Candy who put a lot of work into it as well.
Hey.
Okay, few more questions here. We got about 10 minutes left, so you can get going and make dinner for the kids and all that fun stuff. Irene says we live in Bex says, Irene, we live in Colorado too. What are some of your favorite trails to hike?
Oh my goodness. Like I said, I haven't been a lot, just having younger kids and I need to find something they can handle. In Boulder, it's just like all the main ones. In Boulder, what is it called? Chautauqua Trails. There's a lot of college students that go on that one. And then I don't know, they're my All Trails app. So I sometimes don't remember what
Gotcha.
they're called. I'll just
Yep.
be like, "Oh, we're in this kind of part of the of Colorado. Let's go to this one." So,
That is a cool app, and it's been
yeah,
around
yeah,
for a
yeah, yeah,
while,
yeah.
and it's got parts for kayaking and stuff too.
Oh,
It's
very
very nice.
cool.
So
I'll see.
you can see some of the trails to
Yeah.
kayak. Um,
El
and
Dorado
and
Canyon. That's probably another. That's my mom's favorite when she
what was that
comes.
one called?
El Dorado Canyon.
Oh, okay.
That's my mom's favorite when she comes and
In
visits.
a follow up, she wants to know if you've climbed any of the 14ers,
I
or do you
haven't, but
want to?
I'm so jealous because one of my extended family members, they've like hit a lot of the 14ers, and I'm like, that'd be so cool to do. So I need to just either get Mr. Gamer on board or find somebody to come with me and train with me. So because you definitely don't want to go alone. So I've
Yes.
kind of heard some horror stories of some of my friends who went, and then the weather suddenly changed, and it was just so just got to be
You
careful.
fall and your arm gets stuck between two
Yeah, don't
rocks.
go
You got to
alone.
cut it off with a penknife, and
No.
that was a real thing that happened. There's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
movie
yeah,
even.
yeah. I saw that movie. It was
I
scary.
don't. I think he was in Arizona though. I don't think he was in Colorado, but it was somewhere that not too far. And here in upstate New York, we have the 46 peaks,
Oh.
and they call them the 46ers because there's 46 different ones. Obviously, a lot smaller than the ones in Colorado, but they're all hikes and stuff, and it's a beautiful, beautiful area. Stephen would like to know what's the most important lesson you've learned in the time since starting as a YouTuber to ascending to your current level of popularity. So, what's the biggest thing to that really helped you grow to the level that you did, which is an astonishing amount, especially in what you said less than
Three
3
and a
years.
half years, something like
Yeah,
that.
three and a
Yeah.
half years.
Oh
That's
wait, is it 4 years now? Yeah, it's January because I started January 2018, so it's four
okay.
years now.
So 4 years. That's still an astonishing rate of growth. I was happy with 1,000 in a year.
Oh
So
yeah, 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 yeah.
100,000, and I think you're like 136,000 or
No,
something
I
like
think
that.
it took me a year to get to 1,000 subscribers too. Like it was just kind of. I'm more of the slow and steady wins the race, like the tortoise kind of person. I'm not
Yeah.
the viral.
Yeah.
Um, and so honestly, when I first began that first year, again listening to Corey from Aquarium Co-op, somebody on his live stream was like, "Oh, he gets a lot of requests for that. Oh, can we collaborate, right?" And so he answered. He was like, "Well, it looks like you don't have." Many videos up yet. It's probably like less than a handful, right? And I'd recommend that you try posting one video a week for 6 months, and then that way, I can see what kind of portfolio videos you have and how you like to take care of your fish and do our two, kind of um, methodologies, paradigms mesh well, that kind of thing. And so I was listening to that and I was like, ooh, that's like an interesting challenge. I'd like to challenge myself to do one video a week. And so that's what I did for a year or two. I think I never took a break. And
Wow.
I just made, and then, so that was one factor, right? The consistency factor. And then the second one was, I got really into just kind of like when you get really into fish keeping, you start watching a lot of fish tubers, right? Well, for me, when I started getting into YouTube, I started watching some other channels on how to become a better YouTuber. And so, based on some of the things, their advice, each video, or, it's not like I thought about it consciously, but I would pick up a hint, a tip or two from their videos, and I'd be like, oh, next video I make, I want to try that,
Yeah.
And so then I would just keep trying these different, YouTube hacks, not really, YouTube tips. And then just slowly and slowly, each video would hopefully improve from the next one. And so, yeah, that's basically all I did. So consistency, show up, basically, make a video, turn on your camera. But then number two, keep trying to improve how you make videos, whether it's, I don't know. There's so many things that can go into making
Yeah.
YouTube videos,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's right up Steven's alley because he does a lot of very, very creative videos. He's done some rap songs and stuff for fish keeping and
Cool.
just amazing stuff. And I keep telling him to the moon because we hit him and myself and our other friend Lefty all hit 1,000 with just minutes of each other.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
Lefty is doing like what you just described, the once a week, but he's doing a video a day for this year.
I'm good. I don't have the time.
I don't know how he
Good
could
luck
do
with
it.
that. Good luck.
I
That's
mean, he
awesome.
says he's I think he's got like 15 or so already done. I mean, I'm pulling for him, but that's a lot of work, and I wish him the best, but I just don't know how somebody could do that and
I
keep
want
up
it to
that.
be like a network TV show. What I mean? It's like, oh, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Tune in because
Yeah,
Star Trek or whatever it was is going to show up, right? And so I was like, yeah, I don't think I have that many things to say on a daily basis. But once a week, I can probably think of something I learned that it might be useful to somebody else.
gotcha. I'm with you, and I hardly put out any videos. It's all live streams.
Hey,
That's
that
my
is your
place.
groove,
That's
right?
because I'm only doing this because I like it.
Yes.
That's it for me. I'm trying to scroll up and find the other questions. We've got just a few minutes left,
Oh, yeah.
and of course my chat is running super slow. All of a sudden, there we go.
That's fine.
Um,
I was just going to add, I don't currently have any plans to be like a full-time YouTuber like some people do, Like I am quite happy with working for Aquarium Co-op and having YouTube just kind of be like for fun, like you said, something on the side.
let's see. I probably missed some. I'm gonna jump down to where Alex is here at 9 past, which is still 20 minutes behind. Irene should team up with Alex from Tank Tested. Both are clearly skilled perfectionists with their art. And
Aww.
Alex from Tank Test, I got to interview him as well. And
I have yet to listen to that one. It's on my watch later list. So
he's a great guy. And I could see you guys doing a collaboration together. Definitely would mesh well, I think.
Oh my goodness, he's like so good at aquascaping though. I have like zero talent in that area.
Yeah, maybe you'll pick up a thing or two from him. He just seems he's so mellow, though. I mean, he is a perfectionist, but at the same time, he's like, I'm a perfectionist. You don't have to be, that kind of thing. What is Irene putting into the super tank? Super tank?
Which one's that one?
I'm not sure,
Oh,
Paul.
like the one for my basement, or like future dream tank, or
Ask us again there, Paul, and throw it towards the bottom. I have StreamYard open too, and I'll see your comment. And I'll follow up on that one. Let's see, scrolling down. Here we go. Okay, here's from Alex again. So what is it you would like to do ideally in the next 5 years? Do you enjoy the co-op work, or do you want to sort of go off on your own brand? And you just sort of answered that. You said you don't really want to be
I'm
a full-time.
good. I love Aquarium Coop. It's amazing. So,
Yeah.
but for the channel, like I said, I already kind of mentioned my goal of maybe making a mini filming studio down in the basement would be a nice goal for this year. We'll see if it happens. I've been kind of working on some little projects in the background as well. And as things slowly start to open up as well, it would be nice to eventually like go visit some fish stores and film those, or maybe do some interviews of like local fish rooms. Like that's something I haven't really done on my channel for a really long time. And so, yeah, just thinking of little ways to keep the channel interesting for you guys and also for me. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's going to be a problem for you. Keep it interesting for us because, again, you've got a ton of fans here.
Thank
Um,
you.
and this is just a quick thank you. Irene's video about algae, plant quarantine, and bettas were very helpful to us. Thank you. That's from W. Ruffle. All right.
You know, I
And
think I've got more time. I don't hear anybody yelling for me yet. So
okay, but
let's
don't
keep
feel
going.
obligated. And if you feel like you need to drop out, just let
No,
me know.
I'm
Give
having
me a
fun.
sign, wink really fast or something. You know, I don't know.
Just
Give me
kidding.
a sign, and we'll. I mean,
Okay.
I know you still got that sweet, sweet yodel money. You know,
Oh
so
my
you don't
goodness.
really need. I had to drop that phrase again because I was very proud of myself for thinking that one up there. Um, here we go from Whip's World. And again, all these names, I see these people day in, day out, and it's just an amazing community. It's a great bunch of people. And I know they all know you, but I bet if you did do some more live streams, you'd get to know all of them. And again, it's a great community, and it's just,
So sweet.
it's worth it just to get to know this group of people. They're just amazing. Real
Here,
quick,
why don't we wait before you ask this question? Why don't we do this? Whatever questions are on your list, let's just put a cutoff point like somewhere on the line, and then let's answer those questions. So I want
okay.
to get everybody's in the queue, and then you say cutoff is here or whatever right now.
Okay. Well, let's do that. I'm just going to scroll down so I can real quick, and then I'll scroll back up. So, actually at 7:20. Oh no, let's make this one right here. 7:29. That'll be our cutoff. That'll
Perfect.
be our
That way
cutoff.
everybody in the line can get answered.
So let me jump, and it wasn't that many more actually above that. So,
Okay.
Whips World wants to know how much face-to-face time do you have with Corey? And I'm assuming remotely. As he is cool, is he as cool as his online persona indicates? If it was covered in the first half hour, disregard. I was very tardy. Whip being tardy.
I have only met him in person twice, and it was at two different Aquashellas, I think in 2019. And I was like, again, one of the fans, right? I wasn't working for him yet. And so, I mean, I think the second one, I was a contractor by that point.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the first one I stood in line like everybody else, and I got my selfie, and I was like, "Cool, see ya." You know, I didn't want to hold up the line, right, by talking to him a ton. And then the second one, I did get to talk to him a little more, but then again, there was just so many people that I really didn't get to, talk to him much. And we have had some remote calls, but as the company has gotten bigger, he doesn't really need to interact with me as much. We've got this kind of like chain of, Zenzo's helping review my articles now. And so, I don't really get to interact with them as much. But
Gotcha.
I am going to Aquashella Orlando.
I was going to ask. Okay.
Yes, February. I'm only going to be there the Saturday, the first day, February 26th, I think is the day. So I'll be at the Aquarium Co-op booth probably the whole time with Zenzo and Corey. So if you want to say hi, come say hi.
Awesome. Are you doing any other events this year? Do you have any planned?
I don't know.
The Triple
I haven't
Crown.
planned on anything. We'll see.
Triple Crown is going to be big.
Okay, I've heard this mentioned multiple times. What is Triple Crown and where is it and when?
So it's in Louisville, Kentucky. It's the last week of July, excuse me. And it's actually misnamed. There's actually 4 different clubs that are getting together. So it's the AKA, the ACA, the ANGFA, which is the Rainbow People, and the Live Bears, ALA. So all 4 of these groups are getting together.
Cool.
And there's all kinds of speakers. It's like a 5-day event. Rusty Wessel, his house is not too far away, so it's going to be, there's doing tours of that, and there's going to be just a massive amount of fish tubers that are going to be there.
Awesome.
I think even more so than like the Aquashellas, really. Even though Aquashella's more focused on that. So it's going to be a good time. There's just going to be.
I'm going to wait to see what Corey says. If they officially buy tickets, I'll heavily consider it for sure, because I always want to get a chance to see my coworkers and
it's going to be a fun time. That's the one we're also going to the Keystone Clash, which is a much smaller event in Pennsylvania.
That's right.
All right.
Cool.
Let's see. Let's scroll down. You know what? I think the one other Maria Z, she just became a new member.
Hey.
Maria Z's awesome. She's I got to meet her in person. She's a great person. Um, and Alex is starting up right now too, so this is a good time. But there was
Okay.
one I got to find. Paul did say what he was expanding. There it is. Yes, the basement studio tank, the big tank that you want to put in the basement. Do you have any kind of specific plans on what you put in that?
I mean, I kind of posted about my community tab that I was looking at Dean's Fish Room's Instagram, and he was posting those super beautiful F1 Peruvian discus he had,
Oh,
and I was like,
gotcha.
man, some of those fry. Look, I mean, that would be amazing. But I don't know. We'll see. I know nothing about discus
I was going to ask.
keeping,
Yeah.
and I would feel terrible if I took those things home and they died in my care. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do infinitely more research. Like I even saw George Farmer's video on how he like took all the plants away, and he's like known to be an aquascaper. And I was like, ooh, okay, this is like good info. And so
That's why
absolutely, if I did get a chance to keep discus, like it would be a discus focus tank, whatever makes them happy, that's what I would do. So we'll see. Pipe dream.
I see. That's why I couldn't do those because I love planet tanks. The plants are just as important as the fish
I
to
could
me.
do it.
So
I would give up plants for those beautiful
really,
discus. Man, they are
wow,
so gorgeous. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I
gotcha.
gotta watch more videos.
Yeah, yeah, and I bet you there's a little bit of extra pressure on somebody like yourself that makes those types of videos and stuff to do things right. I mean, there's always a pressure. You always want to do it right, anyways, because you're fish. They're yours, and
Oh
you need
yeah.
to give them the best life, right? That's why we're doing this. But at the same time, there's got to be that little bit of extra pressure on people like
Mm.
yourself, especially if you were getting them from Dean. I mean, yeah. So I could
It
see
would
why
probably
you
be a
want.
secret for a very long time until I made sure all of them survived. My members would get to know about it.
Yeah.
Like I definitely show them fish that, I was like talking about some fish that I gotten, and like promptly later that week, like 3 of them died,
Oh,
out of the school. So it wasn't too bad, but it happens to all of us, right? And
yeah.
so, but I do tend to not show that right away. I usually like to process like what happened, what mistakes were made. Is there anything
Gotcha.
I could have done? Should I have, acclimated them longer? Should I have had
Yeah.
add more minerals or whatever it is?
Okay.
And then once I feel like I've processed and kind of analyzed like some changes I would make next time, that's when I present it to my main audience. But my members get to see more of the immediate like, oh no, I don't know
Gotcha.
what's going on.
So it's more of a teaching moment for you then that you can use
Right, because
and say, "Oh, look, this is what happened, but this is what I figured out,
yeah,
was wrong."
I don't want to be a drama channel where it's like,
Yeah.
oh no, these
Oh, yeah,
fish
yeah.
all died. What am I gonna do? Like, I definitely want it
Yeah.
to be let me think about it, let me analyze it, let me do more research, let me talk to more people, find out, and that way, hopefully, they won't make the same mistake, and they can learn on my lessons learned,
Yes.
basically my horrible
Yes.
failures.
If that's gonna happen, at least
Yeah.
somebody could, learn from it.
Yes,
I know.
benefit. So, yeah, that's why I don't want to drop the ball and be like, "Oh, this horrible thing happened." Yeah, I have no solution. If you came to this channel looking for the solution, I don't have it for it. So I would like to. Another reason why I don't do live streams sometimes is like I like to again be very prepared and just be like,
Gotcha.
here are kind of some steps A, whatever methods A through D that you can try if this happens to you. So,
Yeah. A little more methodical with all of it. Yeah.
a little more helpful.
I'm all about fly by the seat of your pants. That's my sort of my entire life motto is, yep, we'll get there when we get there.
Mm.
And it drives some people crazy, including my wife. And with that, we are 8 minutes past, so I will let you go. Ricky De Hoyos came in at the end there. He said, "Hi, Rico and Irene. Want to wish you guys all the best for 2022," and he dropped a super chat. Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you.
Irene, is there anything you want to tell people? Is there anything coming up that you want to mention? Or
I already talked about Aquashella. Probably not. Just yeah. Thanks for having me on the channel. This was
thanks for being
absolutely
here.
lovely.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be a lot of fun, and I thanks so much for coming up and hanging out with us. And maybe in a year we can do it again and see what's changed.
Hey, yeah. Leave your comments down below. Any questions that I missed, and then for the next live stream, let's try to get to them.
All right, everybody, thanks so much for being here. There's a bunch of good streams still tonight. You got Ladies Night, you got Bentley Pasco, you got Steven their new stream. And I know I'm missing somebody, so I apologize to whoever that. Oh, Alex is going right now, Secret History. So if you guys want to go over there and check him out. And next week we have John Oliver as our guest. So that's going to be
Oh,
very
very
cool.
cool.
He's a good guy and a lot of really cool fish. He's got a great fish room. So that'll be a lot of fun. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.